Welcome back to What the Podcast Season 2. We're starting a brand new season. I am Steve of WTFAnimeINC. With me, as always, is Ladyducky, KriticalSkeptic, and we have two special guest hosts, DaBlueSkittle, and, of course, Six. Welcome to the podcast. So, it's Season 2. We're already in here. There's going to be a couple of changes this season. You might notice them. Might not. Who knows? We'll see. But, guys, that now officially makes 11 weeks we've been doing this. We have lasted longer than a Florida season in school. So,
What the?
it's only 10 weeks. The standard time for a semester in Florida is 10 weeks. We're now beyond.
That was 9
standard...
weeks.
No, it's
no,
11.
that's Mississippi. Maybe I'm thinking something else.
There's that tone again. Anyway,
we're well educated down here.
Yeah.
Shut up, bruh. Shut up. My Mississippi education made me do good.
So you went to that center where you can sit there and learn and read good and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ABCs disease.
She went to special education.
Yeah, because we were all special students.
So when they told you you were gifted and explained that you had to go on the shorter bus, they told you that meant you were extra special. Right?
No, they put us on the short bus because they're like, you guys are the special select out of all of you guys. So we got the small. It was nice, students. Right? We had more room in there. We were special stars. It was
Ducky
amazing.
Were the windows on the bus flavored? Were they candy flavored?
I mean, a little salty, but I think
I rest my case.
Wait.
Well, at least you guys got to ride on the short bus. I had to get escorted to the front door.
That's a red flag. Do they also pat you down every day?
Yes. I ended
wouldn't
up
know.
at
I
the
was
wrong
in
school
school.
one time.
Jeez. Well, I
That
figured
explains a lot about why we all get along so well.
it really does. Jesus. All right, so I figured since we have such an eclectic bunch here. Okay, it's going off again, bro.
Perfect timing.
I know, always.
I'm gonna turn that down.
Yeah, just a wee bit.
Turn it off.
Yeah, really.
We're in the fish tank. Sorry.
Blub blub. I figured since we all have such eclectic tastes in video games, and we've briefly talked about video games, but we've talked about older video games, and we're right now in the midst of the next gen wars with all of the console makers. Everybody's already starting to talk about what comes next. You've got Sony, who's sitting there. They've already released the PlayStation 5 Pro. They're already talking about releasing the PlayStation 5 Pro Slim. So we know that they're coming up on their next gen. We've got Xbox, who's pretty well in their market space right now, and they've gone quiet, which usually means that they're already working on something.
What they have in the works thus far as minor reveals is they are going to go 100% digital, which is going to be the end of consoles, because why would you buy a console when you no longer need physical media at all? They're planning on talking about not making any more physical copies of games whatsoever. At that
They
point,
would do
there's
well
no
to start
point buying
making
a
operating
console when you can
systems
play every
and
console's
towers the
games on a
same way
PC.
Apple did.
Sorry?
No, I was
Exactly.
just saying they would do well to make computers like Apple did in that sense.
Yes.
Their own operating
Yes.
system and the like.
I mean, they've been doing so much with the Windows Surface, it makes sense. I mean, the Surface is like it's basically ideal. I mean, I have a Surface and I love the crap out of the thing. So
fuck?
I would have
It's
to
a
say
laptop.
It's basically replaced my laptop at this point.
Oh, it's a
touchscreen
tablet.
tablet that has the
Okay.
capabilities of a laptop.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I
So
mean,
it's an iPad.
I can even game on it. That's how powerful the little sucker is. So
I mean, it's like the
Well,
Steam
so
Deck. There's so
you
much you can
mentioned
do with the
Steam
Steam Deck too.
Very true.
Steam Deck and these Surface devices, and he mentioned power. Um, Handheld devices, mobile devices, no longer require as much processing power to run a cloud-based game. Your hardware doesn't have to be as impressive as the upgrades in consoles, the upgrades in PCs. When the game is run on the cloud, server ended, it pulls most of the load, so you don't need as powerful a hardware to actually run it because the network is running a lot of the game for you.
I mean, it's very true. Didn't Nvidia try something like that though for like the longest time? Because I know
They tried to release it too early
To no
before
avail.
so many games went to the cloud.
Because I know also Google Stadia was a thing, and they during the pandemic was when they finally dropped off Stadia. But I knew a bunch of people who were on
It's a
Stadia.
shame. It's a shame.
What the
I
fuck
think
is
that was going to
Stadia?
blow up.
So Stadia was Google's version of cloud-based gaming, and I mean they had some big names backing them back then. They had EA, Ubisoft, like they had a ton of services connected to Stadia.
A lot of potential.
Stadia.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot right now because you're
I
saying
think that
somebody
was-
said something about a PlayStation Pro. Is it like a Switch but for PlayStation?
Well, no. So PlayStation sits there, and they always have the base release of the model. So with the PlayStation 5, it was the gigantic router-looking fucker, and then after that you had the Slim come out, and so the Slim was the skinnier version of it. Then the Pro released, and the Pro is a friggin' monster of a machine. And then now they're about to release the PlayStation 5 Pro Slim, so that's a slimmed down version of the Pro, which, talking in terms of Sony's cycles, this means that they're coming close to their next generation now.
I think we're all gonna
Sony's
be-
known for making their consoles thicker and
Yeah.
pragmatic, so they work properly. But then the second iteration after each of those thicker versions, the initial variants, right? They just make them compressed. They make them smaller.
Yeah.
Slim and sexy.
I will say, the larger the console, the better the airflow, and the
Yeah.
cooler you can keep it, the better it's going to perform, less lag,
Right.
less crashes.
Just
So-
get a
More
PC.
often than not, the larger version is backwards compatible, which is nice, but
Yeah.
that's not so much a
That's
factor
something.
anymore,
If
unfortunately.
a game company really, really wanted to kick the shit out of the competitors, make one or two generations back. Make your current edition 1 to 2 generations backwards compatible, because most people don't want to do that anymore. They want you to buy newer media, and they force your hand by taking away your ability to enjoy your old games on the new console. If you wanted to get fans and customers excited, let them play PS5 and 4 games on the PS6, you know?
On
People
that
are gonna
note,
stop
they would
buying
do
the other
really
consoles.
well to invest in making them completely backwards compatible. So, I mean, for Sony,
Yeah.
if they made the second they make a PlayStation, let's say, just for all sakes and purposes, a PlayStation 6 that's backward compatible for all generations, and you can insert PlayStation, original discs, you can insert PlayStation 2 discs, things like that.
Nintendo would never do that.
Everyone would buy one.
I agree. I
Everyone
haven't bought a
would.
PlayStation since the 3, and I would absolutely go out and buy one tomorrow if they're like, you could play all 5 or 6 generations.
That would be
of
the
PlayStation
smart
games on
choice
this.
for them.
Nintendo would never do. I love Nintendo so much, but I hate them because they would never do something like that, because every time you get a new system, you have to rebuy that same game for that damn system. That pisses me off. That's like, I love Nintendo, but I see their greed in everything, and it makes me very angry.
It's
It makes me
same
sad,
thing
too,
with
'cause-
Nintendo over and over.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah. Not only that, but even the resellability, if that's even a word, is non-existent at this point. The second nowadays, especially on the new Switch. I mean, whatever the newest one is, I
Switch
forget off the
2?
top of my head.
I
Yeah,
don't
Switch
even have
2.
it.
The second you resell a game disc or whatever, right, and you try inserting it into your device, it bricks your system, not the previous owner's system.
I really think that if we're talking in terms of like digital gaming and cloud-based gaming, I think Steam did it right with the Steam Deck, because you have dock options to where you can hook it up to your television. You can hook it up and run it as a daily driver PC and all this other stuff. I think Steam really did it the right direction. I think Nintendo really screwed the market. I think PlayStation has always done what they've always done, and that's they're playing it safe. Every generation they play it safe with how the console should work.
Right.
But, you know, and then Xbox, I really don't have any experience with the newest generations of Xboxes. But my thing is that there's something to be said for physical media, and this is where Steam also does it right. Is if you buy a game through Steam and that game is removed from the Steam marketplace, it doesn't mean that it gets removed from your library. You will always have it because you always purchased it. But I've heard of instances where like Ubisoft, EA, Epic Games, I hear is really bad about it, where even if you bought it, but it gets taken off their marketplace, they remove it from your library. So if you're saying that I just spent that $60 on that fucking game, and then suddenly I log into my account and I go look at that game, but it was pulled off of their marketplace for whatever reason, now it's off of my library, where the fuck did it go?
Right.
Because there are a couple of games, like, I lost forever ago my physical copy of Fallout New Vegas. That's gone.
Yeah.
But thanks to Steam backing it up and verifying my purchase, I still have New Vegas always there. So, like, thank God for Steam's policies on that. But, like, I've heard of people losing crap right out of their libraries because...
Valve is based. Epic is, and again, not to make it geopolitical or what have you, but it's a Chinese-based corporation. I know some of the major upper developers that worked on, like games like Fortnite. Great people, but it's unfortunate how much of their work has been squandered by, again, a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Epic. And what it's turned into is a bastardized version of what it was supposed to initially be. When the colleague of mine that was one of the lead developers on it came to visit the college that I was attending at the time and explain the concept of Fortnite back in the day before it even came out, it was awesome. It sounded fun. It sounded like something that was more story driven, but now it's just a bastardized money grabbing operation.
Well, I mean, that's another thing is monetization.
Yeah.
I had this conversation the other day with DaBlueSkittle about how much games coming out now are so heavily monetized. You're expected to whip your wallet out every single fucking minute that you're playing some game and whatnot. I forget who was talking about it, but it was one of the it was one of the big baddies in the gaming industry. But like they were sitting there talking about charging you even to play a round of the game.
Oh man, they're getting
it was gonna be
minds.
It was gonna be one of those type of games like Fortnite or whatnot, where you're basically constantly loading into new zones and whatnot. But every time that would happen, in order to play that next level, in order to play that next round and whatnot, you were gonna have to spend $1 or $2.
That's only acceptable if you're in an arcade and it's a quarter.
Yeah, that's
that
different.
Sounds a lot like Las Vegas.
Yeah, gambling. There was a legal case about that. For those of you who remember the game called Paladins, people were claiming, not to go down that deep rabbit hole for the moment, but just because I'm trying to make a point here. It's the game Paladins is the game that people were claiming that it's a ripoff of Overwatch. No. Paladins was in production 6 years prior to Overwatch's existence. So, be that as it may, what I'm getting at is that's what happened there. There was a whole Supreme Court case that went through the works of Congress, where they were talking about, how gambling has affected the gaming industry because the way they were doing their loot boxes for aesthetic skins and things like that. Not even game-changing mechanics, just straight up aesthetic skins. Where you're paying a raffle to hopefully win a specific skin. I am personally liable because did I spend close to $2,000 on that game alone just trying to get one specific skin and never actually got it? Yeah, of course. But that's the nonsensical aspect of the dangers of gaming, unfortunately, is it's very susceptible to gambling in that sense.
Can I say something about the gambling thing?
That format, so why chase down Paladins for doing it?
Well, because bigger fish were being fried up basically at the same time, because there was the case on Star Wars Battlefront 2 out in Germany where they were hammering on them about the loot boxes, and that's how come in the European Union, the way the loot boxes used to work back in the day is actually illegal over there, is because they were like, this is full-on gambling, you can't do that to children. And like, you know, it's why EA almost lost the license from Disney. Yes, Ducky, I see your hand up again.
I just wanted to do a little quick story about the whole gambling thing, like with the like gotchas and stuff, because I was playing Maple Story when I was like, you know, underage as a kid. Dan's like, yep, Skittle. Anyway, I was playing Maple Story, and apparently when you want to get a new hairstyle, you had to roll for it to hopefully get the hairstyle you want. And I didn't really have any money, and I needed more money to get that hairstyle. So my parents had this whole thing of quarters, and I would pull out all the quarters so I could get like a $10 gift card at Walgreens. I had a car at the time, but I didn't have money, so I would sneak out the quarters, and I would go to the store, and I would put it in this big coin thing where it'll turn it into cash. So I was like pouring all the quarters in, getting cash, and I kept on, and I'd come back home with the $10 card, and I'd spend. I wouldn't get it, and then I'm like, I gotta take more quarters. I'd go in. I kept on doing that, and let's just say my parents. I did get the hairstyle, by the way, after multiple attempts and driving, but I'm got
glad we
caught.
clarified that.
Yeah, I got caught and I got in trouble. So no, I don't think this gotcha thing for kids is a good thing, especially when you have addictive personality and you're like, I have to have it.
I mean, if
was it worth it?
Cool.
Was it
It
worth it?
was at the time, yes, it was kind of worth it because I was very happy I got it. But when I got in trouble and then I ended up having to do all this cleaning and getting yelled at and all this stuff, no, I guess not.
No. And you got to do the time for the crime. Yep.
No.
See, that's how they also like promote these things too. Like,
it is.
They make something really cool, and it's like they keep showing it off, and then you see other people having it, and you're like, man, I kind of want it now.
Right.
On an anecdote level, and this is what I like, on a good note on the gaming industry as to how it's evolving. Arrowhead with Helldivers. I mean, obviously the flag, but with Helldivers, the way I've been saying this since day one of Helldivers 2's launch. I mean, this is gaming done right. The way they've been doing it is they have their aesthetic, packs essentially, the war bonds, and you can either monetarily obtain them by actually paying USD or whatever your currency is for the super creds to pay for them, or you can easily just grind and do the time and actually earn them in game.
Yeah.
And if you don't want something, screw it. You can literally go in and just select what you do want out of it. It makes it that simple. And they've actually gone to the extent where recently, since they've implemented Xbox players into the community, which is awesome, they added a Helldivers, pack to the game, and that not Helldivers
ODST pack.
Oh, Halo ODST. My mistake.
Yep.
And they made that a premium war bond. So is it more expensive? Yeah. But same thing, you can easily grind enough creds to buy it outright without having to pay a dime.
They don't isolate it where there's one type of coin that is only obtainable through cash. There is basic money, and then there is super credits, and super credits can be earned by playing or bought if you're in a hurry. However, anything you can obtain through simply playing the game.
Exactly.
And I was thinking about Helldivers before you brought it up. In my mind, I was thinking of a comparison of the difference between a gacha game, a loot chest gambling game, and a proper, true live service game.
Correct.
They are constantly updating it month by month with more features, options, and stuff you can get, but they don't hide any of it behind an actual paywall.
Yeah.
It is about the enjoyment of the game. They're giving you something that you can get without the whole gambling aspect.
Well, even games like open world RPGs, like MMOs, World of Warcraft does that too, where you don't necessarily you have the option to pay the developers, which I'm all for because being a former game developer, I understand that. But on a separate note, things like Star Wars: The Old Republic, same thing. You can pay for cred. Relatively cheaply, might I add, but nonetheless, you can. But you can also earn everything just by playing the game. Very simply.
Or you have the opposite in this industry. So you have games like Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact. You have these games where basically anytime you want the ship drops and whatnot, you're spending money, and you're spending money on basically a roulette wheel to tell you whether or not you're getting something. And you could have a bad draw 15 times in a row and not get it. I don't know. I back when I was a VTuber, I was sponsored to play one of those type of games, and I couldn't stand it. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that they were paying for me and that basically like I was given a set amount that they told me that I could pull for stuff, and they were like, do this number of pulls, and don't worry, it's free. And yet, but after I got done doing that, did I ever go back to that game? Fuck no.
Did you tell your audience you liked the game because you had to, or did you say this is shit? Don't get it, you guys.
No, I didn't. So that I wouldn't get in trouble, I never sat there and said one way or another if I liked it. I was just like, here's the game, we're gonna play it, and then ended the stream basically after we got
showcased it.
Yeah, I did. I did my 3 hours of it, and then I was like, because they were like, we need at least 3 hours. And I think they thought that maybe I'd like play an hour a day or something like that. No, I just did it all in one go and was like, nope, I'm done. Okay, I'm out. Yeah. Okay, tomorrow I was like, tomorrow we're playing Pressure Wash Simulator. So, like,
now that you mention it, so Star Wars: The Old Republic, I played a lot of that too. Also, now that I think about it, it had all three aspects. It had the gambling aspect of it, where there is an option where in their cartel market where you can actually roll the dice and get something random from the market at that point in time, whatever's popular. But that's just it used in-game currency to do that. So you're not actually wasting USD or whatever your IRL currency happens to be on that, which is fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a healthy business process. So it should be done.
Correct.
Well, it's always made me wonder if one of the reasons of why they killed Galaxies, because I loved Galaxies, if one of the reasons why they killed Galaxies is because they couldn't monetize it.
Yeah, 100%.
Or possibly just to push traffic to newer IPs like Old Republic.
I think that's the case, personally, because I'm just being more of a lore nerd, considering the fact that Disney massacred thousands of novelizations and, again, retconned a lot of stuff, which really irked me. The Holy Grail behind me. That's just it. Is they definitely, I think it was more of a story-driven decision, less than a monetary decision. I think it was more... It left a lot of interpretation open for things, and a lot of things got retconned from Galaxies as a result. So,
I mean, I remember when they added. I remember when they added Kashyyyk, because I was like, "This is so confusing. Why are we adding Kashyyyk into the game? Like, we are beyond like that moment in time. So, like, why is this here?" And then it just got really confusing. So,
it was very convoluted. Yeah.
But funny side story is I do remember shortly after Jump to Lightspeed came out, and I got since I had been playing since the beta, I got the yacht.
Oh, cool!
The indestructible player yacht, and I remember sitting there like chilling out on my yacht once, and sitting there just hanging out in space, and I had this little player who kept trying to attack it and whatnot, and I'm just like, yo, bro, you realize you're not doing any damage. You realize this thing's never gonna blow up. You realize you can't steal it. Like,
Get
this
away
is
from
not
me,
going
peasant.
anywhere. So, but I think whatever's going on in certain game devs' heads nowadays is totally different than what the C-suite has in store. Because you sit there and you see things like CD Projekt Red, and they tried really hard with Cyberpunk 2077, and it I will say it was good and everything like that. But I mean, even then, look at what they're talking about for The Witcher 4. And it's like,
I thought it looked good.
No?
I mean, but the thing is that they're already talking about adding live service elements into it. And
what does that mean?
So basically meaning always checksumming the game, sitting there and making some aspects kind of like gotcha aspects where you have to go in and buy certain things. Like
they're pulling another Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes, where they take what should have been an offline RPG where you could stop it, save it, pick up where you left off, but now you log in and it's like, oh, we've added all this new crap that you can now bid on, gamble on, or roll these side quests to get the... They're adding live service purchasable options into what was a beautiful standalone offline game.
It's ridiculous
watering it
at the
down.
end of the day.
The one thing I'm happy that's coming out of Rockstar about GTA 6 is that with Rockstar, they have sat there and said that GTA 6 will be GTA 6 and that GTA Online is that separate entity. It's not one of those things where they're going to roll it into the world of GTA 6 and have all these online things that pop up on you while you're playing and whatnot. Now, do I see them eventually enabling that anyways, like they did with GTA 5? Yeah, but at least maybe we might get a year or two of the game just being a pure single-player heaven.
I have a feeling that GTA 6 is going to flop.
What?
And I can explain why. Considering the chart of how gaming has become in the past decade alone, you know what I mean? We went from 6.5, 7, on the rating chart, and it's dipping down pretty quickly in the past couple years. Now, can it pick up? Absolutely. But it's going to take something really special to do that. And I really don't have a whole lot of faith in GTA 6, considering the fact that their initial trailer had, and again, not to get political or preferential or anything like that, but quite frankly, it seemed like they were pulling the cater wagon to a lot of the woke mob and things like that. And again, anything that's gone towards that direction has flopped a lot. You know what I mean?
I don't even think it's necessarily that. I think the structure and management has changed over at Rockstar so much that
you're not wrong.
I think it's just going to basically be like, if they don't do it right out of the gate, we're eventually going to get into that part where they're going to monetize everything in it. They're going to ruin it like that. So, because, it is one of those things, like, it just seems to be every single studio's preferences is, can we charge you money for it? How can we charge you money for it? What are we going to charge you money for this month?
You're right. And that's what I was going to say. It's not inherently like gamer-driven or story-driven, as it should be, mind you. It's been business-oriented. It's been, what shortcuts can we take to take your money in a reasonable medium? You know what I mean?
True.
On that note, I'd like to circle back to GTA 5 for a second. While we're still within the
5 or 6?
5.
Okay.
5. What they did to keep the game alive and to also keep getting additional revenue after everyone on Earth owns a copy, instead of adding microtransactions to the game, they simply built, they put in the freaking work. They built DLC packages. If you wanted new weapons, new missions, new vehicles, and yes, outfits and skins came with this, but they weren't random draw. They weren't loot boxes. You bought a DLC, and you could go on and read everything you were paying for before you bought it. There was no random luck of the draw.
But
they built it, they put in the work, and they're like, do you want more content? We're still making more content. You can get it for a pretty reasonable price.
But
and
this
you can
was
get
all
the ones
built
you
into
want and leave out the ones you don't, and it won't really affect that much of the game.
This was all built into the online environment, though. They never did anything to sit there and modify the original single player story.
Yes, that stayed 100% original from launch.
So when they released, let's talk about the casino pack. When they had sat there and they released the casino pack, had they included something that also added and heightened the single player experience, I might have been for it. Because that would be heightening the single player experience. But we never added anything into the single player experience. So we got a million different versions of GTA 5, but nothing ever sat there and gave us anything new story-wise, no new lore-wise or anything like that.
That would have been a nice option to see. Expansions for the single-player campaign. I would have definitely bought into those DLCs if they had decided to make them.
Yeah.
Personally, I probably wouldn't have cared. I'd probably want more online stuff. Just when it's a GTA or Red Dead Redemption, it all goes to the online because that's usually where people are
You
mainly
play the single
going.
player once or twice, and then
Right.
you want to play with friends in an open world.
I've played that single player so many times.
Oh, okay. Then maybe there are people who like. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I just think majority is online, but
yeah, I mean, I'm realizing it's becoming rarer and rarer to find somebody who sits there and doesn't like playing online component games. I like basically single player story driven games. That's primarily mainly what I play nowadays. Do I want to play with randos and whatnot? No, not really. I mean, I like being by myself and I like exploring the lore and stuff like that. I mean, in Cyberpunk 2077, I sat there and I mean, God, I wandered everywhere around Night City. And I read all the terminals, looked at all the really fucked up advertisements. So,
I've read all the books in it. Now for the record, I'm a huge Talsorian games enthusiast. So that's just it. Is Mike Pondsmith is like a deity to me. I love everything that man has written, and that's just it. Is I'm big on like the original book. He wrote in 1988, and seeing a lot of the predictions he made, and it's just, again, I can go down that rabbit hole, but I'm not going to for the moment. But no, fucking, based on what we've been talking about with video games, we were talking about, upcoming things and our interpretations as to how they may be, what they may become. I am curious about Orion, because that's the latest thing, the CDPR. I'm not a fan of CD Projekt Red at all. Yeah. I think they're trash, personally, but that's just me. But what they did with 77 wasn't bad, but it could have been significantly better and performed significantly better. I can't stress that enough. I think Michael Pondsmith got screwed in that deal. That's just my opinion. Honestly, I think that there was a lot of talent that was squandered in that. Yeah, they had Keanu Reeves. Yeah, they had a very star-studded cast of people involved with that, but they could have performed it so much better. It didn't, because I don't think it really drove the point across of what the game is meant to be. They made it. I mean, you look at it now. You look at the mods for the game, and it's all cosmetics for the Instagram thoughts. You know what I mean? That's really all it's become at this point. And then furthermore, looking at what they're talking about with Orion being more globally involved instead of just Night City, it has a lot of potential. But I'm really hoping CD Projekt Red doesn't screw it up along the way.
So in Cyberpunk, I think one little direction they could have gone to really improve the replayability and make the world feel deeper and different every time you played through is if they went the route of Elder Scrolls, where from the beginning you custom your whole character's appearance, then you custom a lot of different classes. Cyberpunk made it so you basically replay the same character and you could structure their stats different. It never felt like a different character or a different playthrough. If you made different choices, you kind of still had to go through all the same motions every time in the story.
Yeah. You're on the right track. So they changed it along the way, and very recently, might I add. They recently redid it to where it's a little more streamlined to a class-based system, which it should. Okay. It should have been in the beginning, because again, if you play the tabletop game, that's how you're supposed to do it anyway. But
I think of the tabletop version of the game, and I want to feel a little bit more like
that's
that.
how they should have done it in the very beginning, but they didn't do that in the very beginning.
The
Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, Phantom Liberty added added a lot to the game. The only thing that I didn't like is that it changed the ending. I fought so hard for my girl to sit there and escape with Judy out with Pan Am into the desert and whatnot, and I feel like my ending was ruined.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Yeah.
So,
but that's why I leave a lot of hope for Orion and what they have going on there. whatever they're planning with it. Apparently, they're adding Morgan Blackhand into the fold, which is really exciting. But
okay. So my question to you is, and you know, also feel free to jump in anytime, Skittle, anytime.
I'm just formulating my own statements, so don't worry.
You can raise your hand like I do. It helps.
I'm always locked and loaded, so.
Yeah, Skittle, cut me or Keith off anytime, please.
Yeah,
Feel free to go. Hey.
Shut up! I'm talking. I have something to say. Now listen.
Yeah.
That
happens.
works. It really does.
Yeah, it really does.
My turn.
My Tim Robinson.
My turn.
My inner Tim Robinson.
Like my fear, and this is a little bit of my fear because I grew up, I lived through it, and that's, if I get copyright struck for that, I'm gonna be so angry.
15 seconds is the limit, so don't worry.
Yeah. My thing is I lived through it, I went through it, and I have huge memories of it, but the gaming crash of '88, like, I remember that very vividly. And if it wasn't for Nintendo, give Nintendo its props, it really did bring the gaming world back forefront. But to me, this has lately been feeling like we're reaching that precipice again before we're about to go through another crash. And
I agree with you there.
A lot of people are sitting there saying there are game companies out there, EA, Ubisoft, Nintendo, Sega, all these other companies out there. They're going, oh, well, if a gaming crash happened, they'd all be fine and whatnot. But it worries me because you think about some of the smaller developers out there. Smaller developers like those who are working on like Helldivers, the smaller developers out there who are working on games like Phasmophobia, Power Wash Simulator, Duckside, all these other smaller developers out there. How are they, what would a gaming crash to them be like? Because back in the original gaming crash, you really only had companies like Atari. You had like 4 or 5 big names and then like 3 or 4 small names, and then that was it. Now there's so many. If a gaming crash were to happen again, who knows what the waves would look like.
Small developers would most likely have to close their studios.
Bankruptcy.
Not necessarily, because I have a theory on this, and it's funny you bring this up. So, based on what we've seen projection-wise, and considering how the market is going at the moment, let's step back for a second. Now, we look at media and the way that it's gone in the past decade alone. I mean, I'm not even talking the past 20 years. I'm just talking about just the past 10 years. We've seen media grow to an extreme level to an extent where we're seeing the average person's attention span is lightning quick. It's not, they can't stay on the same thing for more than 5 minutes at a time.
I mean, the average Disney movie is now less than 90 minutes.
Which is really sad. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for it. I'm against it. But seeing how the market's going, right? Especially with Gen Z, with the way that they are, with very fast-paced thinking, that's great. But with the attention span, that they become kind of useless at that rate. But digressing for the moment, that's kind of the market we're trying to appeal to now at this point. The gaming industry is that fast-paced, quick-second, thinking, and that flashing lights constantly. You know what I mean? So you look at games like Mage Arena is a big one right now, and it's very, very small studio that developed it. Very small studio, and I'm talking bottom of the indie list, right? But they're at the top of the charts right now because of how many people are playing such a stupid, poorly made game.
You don't need a big polished game. You could release some alpha game that's just super addictive, and it'll be hype. And then in 3 to 6 months, it'll be irrelevant.
It's going to disappear.
So you can turn out games a little quicker.
That
quality, but
that ADD riddled, fast-paced, type media has infiltrated the gaming industry because of that. And I think that's the market moving forward for now. And I'm agreeing with the gaming market crash may occur again because, again, even with people like me at the moment, I've become so bored with most game titles lately that I get home from work, I don't want to play anything half the time because it's all the same crap. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad, but at the end of the day, I think that would be good for most people is if for something like that to happen, because once it does, the only place developers can go is up at that rate. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
I feel like
think,
a lot of small. Oh no, you go. You haven't talked.
Go for it. Go
No,
for it.
go Dan.
We need the bottom of this column.
Go.
Skittle,
Go.
say stuff.
I think part of play of like these games blowing up like that, it's because of all these streamers, right?
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. But continue. Yeah, you took my point. Go.
The share counter is at 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
A lot of these streamers nowadays, everybody's trying to become one. Nothing against it, right? But it's not something easy to get into, especially if you don't have like the support and the team to like blow up. But I think ever since COVID, the whole streaming industry just blew up, and that's what people like to see these different types of skits of these games to see if it's something that they're interested in or not.
I was just gonna with the only reason I started playing Mage Arena is because I was seeing short clips on Instagram with fireball, and it's like it's
just
funny.
The people
Yes.
make it interesting, make
Right.
it like exciting, and I think that's the way that it's been going forward with, instead of showing like actual gameplay footage of like how it actually is, instead of hyping it up so much.
It makes it thematic in that sense. Sorry, WTF, not to cut you off, but that's just it is. With the game Peak, for another example, another direct correlation here, and again, just based off of what Skittle just said. So thematically it's a big a theme is a big factor too, because with Peak, it's the scenario there is you're a troop of Boy or Girl Scouts going into this wilderness experience, and you're having to make it out alive. In the game, there are actual references to the movie Up. Like there is actually, a Russell outfit and the old guy, outfit in the game. They're direct references to the movie Up. So it kind of gives you a theme to base off of, and that's what intrigued me initially to that game, was seeing my community members playing it, and they were just being stupid children playing it, which made it really intriguing at that sense. So it's also a theme-based factor as well.
I also though would have to say that while it's fun watching streamers that you're into like sitting there and engage with a game and everything like that, like whenever I sit there and I see like Michi Mochibi or Shy Lily or somebody like that playing a new game, and I get hyped and interested in it. I also think that there's also some streamers out there who do a disservice to their job to reflect a game, either poorly or positively and whatnot, because I hate name calling. I'll probably get some people angry at me about this, but QXC always plays a game, and it's always the most amazing game that he's ever played. But like, the one thing I always appreciated by like Jacksepticeye or like PewDiePie or some of the older guys in the industry, if they played a game and they found it dog shit, they would call it out on it. Right. But like QXC, 100%. Everything he fucking plays is somehow like an amazing game. And then when he does call out a game, his chat's like, "Oh yeah, you're right." But but
not even that. Look at Quapping. Who remembers Quapping?
Oh. What the hell is a Quap?
Mm-hmm. Everyone shat on Quapping, and yet everyone played it. Everyone and their uncle did. You know what I mean? Even the shitty games that everyone liked to shit on, like Nickelback of the gaming world, Quapping was that game.
What is Quap? What the fuck is a quapping?
So
okay, is this a porn? What is this?
No, it's not. No, it's a really fucked up game. Well,
okay.
Happy Wheels. Happy Wheels was another one of those,
but a little more tricky.
Yeah.
I don't think that's popping up. QWOP.
Yep, QWOP. So.
Can I pull up an image?
Yeah, go for it.
Go right
I
ahead.
just entire screen. This
What
one.
did you discover?
No, just the images. Just
Yes.
Okay, so it's so. Just think that's funny.
Imagine sprinting.
Yeah, thighs, calves.
Yeah, you're having to control every individual muscle.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's you know, it's one of those things. Like at first, you think it's like gonna be like easy and whatnot, and then suddenly like you're like, oh my god, what is this? And like here we go. I'll be the sacrificial lamb. I'll be so. If I can sit here and get this to behave for like 2 seconds. So I'll be the sacrificial lamb here. All right. So here it is. All right. So
you are
now I was always bad at this. So but all right, we're gonna click to begin. All right. Oh yeah, no, you see I'm already.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You need
so
to
many
move
memories.
Forward.
He moved backwards.
Thighs, calves, thighs.
I think it's calf time.
Calves.
Calf
Come
time.
on.
P.
W.
And then Q.
No, I moved 0.1 of a meter. All right, we'll try this again. All right.
You got this.
Joining the Olympics before we learn how to
Oh my gosh, this has to be hard.
So QOWP.
QWOP, yeah. That's why it's called QWOP.
No.
QOWP. Okay.
Oh yeah, 1.1 meters. Yeah.
See, it's better than before. See,
so
best 1.3.
QOWP. Oh, he was just.
Holy shit.
It's like a guy just slowly
I almost had the
falling.
music queued up though for a second there.
Oh, hey, you can go by 1 foot. Hop the way.
You're going backwards.
Just
negative ground.
Go forward.
On your knees.
He's doing the moonwalk, guys.
Negative 0.1.
He did the moonwalk for a second.
That's QWOP.
Oh
right.
no!
Like
that actually looks kind of fun and frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
to Steve's point. That's what a lot of streamers were doing, even though they were openly shitting on it and telling people don't play this. Everyone did. It was almost like
because it's funny.
Reverse psychology.
People like the funny. Like the reason why I played Mage Arena is because it's funny. Like how they videotaped it, how they did it all looked really funny.
Yeah.
Excitement builds, and then you're like, I want to have that much fun like they did. Maybe you won't, but from that video I saw, it looked really fun.
100%. That's what got me into Valheim initially. I mean, same with Valheim. I wasn't gonna play it or buy into it because I thought it looked stupid, like one of the stupid Minecraft ripoffs. But because it was low res and it was, crafty. It was a crafty game. But that's just it. Is when the second I saw a streamer get crushed by a tree, it was the stupidest clip. But the second I realized the trees can kill you, oh my god, I have to try this now. And a tree can kill you. I'm obsessed with it now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You do love that game.
You also
sucks.
You
it sucks. You're wrong, Six.
I'm done with it.
Well,
I think it's cool.
I mean, here's the thing though is we also had a great time with games that were a little bit more different back then. Black and White, God Hand, those kind of games.
That was fun.
Like, we definitely had those. Oh, yeah, go now. Here we go.
I love
I'm going back into what you were saying. Like, they had different mechanics back in the day that made things more involved with like the game itself, and you're like, ooh, this is cool. I wonder what else I could do, or what else we could do in this game. And it seems like nowadays they're just making it more prettier and less mechanics,
Valheim? That's for Valheim, okay.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
so many games like Valheim.
The mechanics and the physics all the same. When half the adventure was learning how everything functions in the game's physics and how you could break it or do weird stuff in it.
Well,
if
when
you
you
guys
want
look
things to
up
be
the
prettier,
beta,
you
it
can
was
make your base look
so
really pretty
different
with
from what it
nice
used to
candles
be.
and floral
It's
decorations.
amazing what their
Yeah,
beta
that
was
gets
like.
boring after a while.
Why must every game have a food, water dynamic? Oh, you got to keep your guy alive.
Survival.
Like, there are games out there that have it that don't really even need it. And it's like,
True.
why is it Ark? Ark is my classic example because the way Ark started, it didn't need that crap.
No.
But then now it's in there. You know?
Adds an extra element of survivability, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to a degree, but that's what I like
I
about
think as a
Valheim is you don't
trend.
necessarily inherently have to because it's almost emanating because the name itself is an amalgamation of Valhalla and one of the Heims of the Nine Realms, but that's just it is Valheim. It's like an afterlife. You're given a second chance after living life on Midgard, and you have the option to eat and consume things, but you don't have to. You only do because either it gives you stats, buffs, or
Drunk.
because why not? You know what I mean? You have that
Yeah,
option.
drinking in the game just for the fun of the effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tasty mead. Yeah, exactly.
Or role playing. You could be role playing.
It is.
No.
It's not required for survival. It's more for the role play aspect of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, what is everybody's pinnacle of gaming? And I'll kind of start us off on this. And I'll sit there and I'll say, for me, it's always games like Journeyman Project, Pegasus Prime, Turbo, pick one. It doesn't really matter, but the more flushed out, better looking point and click games that didn't necessarily super punish you always, not like in the same regards as like King's Quest, but that if you had more curiosity, you'd sit there and you'd get better clued into the universe. I think
Right.
I think Journeyman Project 3 did the best job at that, was really encouraging you, click everywhere, find out, have Arthur talk at you and find new things. I think for me,
Adventure.
it's kind of those pinnacle. That's kind of like the pinnacle of gaming for me. Is like a point and click adventure game. It doesn't necessarily have to be a point and click, but an adventure game that draws you into its world deeper and deeper.
Right.
So, 6.
Honestly, just looking at my Steam library just to give myself some inspiration, I'm gonna have to go with. I mean, obviously Cyberpunk, and I'm not just talking about just 77, but even the Talsorian book. But that's a big one, and that again, that's older than most video games for obvious reasons. But I'm just stating the way that it's run, the way that it's built. I mean, D&D is an obvious one, but Talsorian and Mike Pondsmith made Cyberpunk in such a way that was unique in and of itself, to where you could actually flesh things out to a degree that nothing else could. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about that. It's not just the role-playing aspect of it, it's the world building. You make it what you want to see in that sense. And that's what I really took home from that. I mean, you could arguably say the same thing about No Man's Sky, and I like that a lot too.
There's a
Because
lot of
not
direct
initially when it came out, I liked the
timing
direction
to
that it was meant to go in, but they didn't have the capability at the time. And you look at it now, and we're what 12 seasons in, and it's phenomenal what they've made out of it. It's just such a deep, well-written game that draws you into it. You can literally escape into random nothingness because that's how it's designed to be. I like exploring the unknown in things, and that which I've never seen before. It keeps it interesting because that's the inner explorer in me. But that's just me.
Adventure.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Skittle?
Well, I think mine's pretty obvious. I got, the little Daisy over
Daisy.
here. Yeah, Daisy's definitely my top game. Like, I love. There's a lot of things to love about it. Like me, I always loved the survival aspect, right? And then with the little sprinkle of like zombies and like the big thing for me was like the mechanics, things you can do, right? The reason why I love DayZ so much is because one day you're like, hey, I feel like building today. You could build all day if you want to. Or you're in the mood for like, hey, maybe I just feel like killing some zombies. It's whatever you want to do, and I like the freedom. That's what I think a lot of games are like missing nowadays, because everything is tailored to go into like a certain direction instead of like, well, maybe if I want to, mess around in this way, you're not really, it's not really allowed, or you can't, because of how the game is like formatted and everything is just singular.
Sounds like one day we're gonna have to drag you into Sons of the Forest.
I've played
That's
that
a
too.
fantastic game. I'd love to get the group into. Me and WTF played that game a bit together. It is weird. It is not what you expect. There was exploration, options in how you went about things, and the backlying storyline, you could push through it quick or just let it unfold slowly when you got bored of screwing around. And it was constantly not stuff you really expect.
Talking about the first one or the second one?
There's the Forest and Sons of the Forest. I messed with both. There are subtle differences in the mechanics, but the unusual storyline is consistently similar across both of them.
And I think Sons of the Forest was far better in my opinion.
The mechanics were definitely
it was
better,
way more fleshed out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I like the second one better for its mechanics, because one, you get like a little helper to help you do like all the little tedious stuff, and that was always the cherry on top.
That's what they were referencing. They said Sons of the Forest, because that is the
Sons
second
of the Forest
one.
is
Yeah, that's the second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sons of the Forest is the second one.
Yeah,
the Forest is the first one.
The Forest.
Yeah, that I played the shit out of.
And here's a little Easter egg. You get something extra when you buy the original Forest. That game, if you buy The Forest, you get the VR version as well. You don't have to buy a separate VR version. If you buy The Forest, you can just turn on Steam VR, hook up your headset, and it runs in VR. So you get two versions of the game with just the core game.
Nice. Yeah, just my opinion. I'd rather play Rust, but that's just me.
I'm not much of a VR person. It makes me like nauseous.
Right.
I can only do it for so long, but it does make the same game. A great example is Skyrim. I played Skyrim dozens and dozens of times back in the day, and then I picked it up one day in VR, and it was a whole new beast. It felt like I was experiencing it for the very first time again.
I didn't like it in VR.
Vertigo is very freaking real in that game.
Yeah.
Be careful looking down or jumping off things. You will puke or fall over.
All right, Ladyducky.
All right, well, I need this over here.
Oh, we get it.
Grab my sword and shield.
Nintendo
I could grab my sword and shield.
Oh.
I was thinking of saying, well, actually, I like Ocarina of Time better, but any Legend of Zelda game I really like. I just have this. I have my sword and shield, but I don't want to put it over here. I like Legend of Zelda games because just the art, the detail in their items, their characters, the story, and how it's just an adventure game, but also with puzzles, trying to solve through dungeons, and then the battles of going against the boss and trying to learn their patterns so you know how to attack them, and the nostalgia, just from the past and playing it as a kid and getting frustrated. I have a big heart for Legend of Zelda. I mean, when I first played it as a kid, I was playing Ocarina of Time, and I was outside where the zombies kept on popping up, and it was scaring the hell out of me. I'm like, oh my god, and I'm running around trying to run away from them, and I was like, I hate this game, but I kept on playing it, and it just kind of, I don't know, something about you hating it, and it's hard, and then you just love it. I don't know why the hate made me love it, but I love Legend of Zelda.
That's a similar thing with me in playing Resident Evil 2. It was I played through the Leon Kennedy storyline, and my sister, she played through the Claire Redfield storyline. But it was the fact that, we were playing together and we were getting scared by the zombies, and it had that slight heart rate thing is why we kept coming back to it as a good positive experience. Like, there's something about getting your heart racing like that for a couple of minutes and playing a game that just,
but you also have a friend there with you. It makes it even more fun. That's I love that, and that's why I have a heart for.
Sounds like we all like zombies over here. Huh?
Well, that's what drives me to Helldivers is it gives you that adrenaline rush where you're with your guys and ladies, and you can face incredible, circumstances together. And at the end of the day,
Challenges.
it gives you a feeling of accomplishment after you successfully, escape that hell dive, if you will. And I like that it's a cooperative game because not only are you having to survive tumultuous, circumstances, you're also having the capability to conquer an unconquerable foe at any rate in a more feasible sense, not just the arcade like, oh, it's a dungeon and a boss. No, you're facing an actual real-time war front together. That's what I really like about Helldivers and what Arrowhead's doing is it gives you a feasible fictional way of looking at the universe.
This time I roamed off with purpose.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's your turn.
My first love. I haven't really followed the Zelda games as intensely since this. I played the Nintendo 64 ones a lot, the Ocarina, but that was pretty much my introduction to RPG adventure games. Man, Zelda.
What is the pinnacle of gaming for you?
So for similar reasons as Skittles and what Ghost was saying on the topic of No Man's Sky, I would have to say, for similar reasons, Elder Scrolls Morrowind.
Yes.
What about
The
Skyrim?
freedom and directions you could go, the choices you could make that would permanently affect the world in ways, well, you could always load a prior save, but you could fuck your world and your experience up, making the wrong choices,
Fable.
making the wrong enemies, killing the wrong people.
Oh, I forgot about Fable.
Yeah, Fable. Fable kind of does the same thing.
But in
It was a little
Fable, it
more on
remembers
rail.
your save file and it remembers when you've saved. In Morrowind, you could at least go back and fix things. In Oblivion, if you accidentally caused it, that's it. Your save file would remember it in Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
You
Get ready to make a new character.
Yeah, you could
Oh
permanently
my
fuck the world
gosh.
in Oblivion.
Yeah.
By the way, harping on the whole Nintendo 64 thing, I gotta ask, was anybody else like a split screen cardboarder? Because
I never used cardboard.
Had to put that piece of cardboard up because fuck anybody.
Man.
We'd be playing
When I played
GoldenEye and
Korok,
shit.
Looking at my
I'm
screen.
trying to cheat, looking at my
You're
screen.
cheating.
Oh my god.
Okay, for
Yeah, you're
GoldenEye,
playing
that makes
competitive
sense.
Korok. They're just like watching for where you are and they come up behind you.
Yeah.
Cheating, yeah.
Call of Duty. I remember those days.
We did that big with Xbox with Halo 1. We would do LAN parties with 4 Xboxes networked together via cables. We'd lug 32-inch friggin' 150-pound TVs up the stairs of our friends' apartments and set all these giant tube TVs up in the living room with the Xboxes hardwired together to play competitive Halo. And we absolutely cardboard divided with duct tape because screen-looking cheaters were real.
Yep. Well, and like, it's so crazy thinking about some of these things, like, because you sit there and you remember the days of like the cardboard and the screen, but also talking about Call of Duty. I mean, hell, I was a Medal of Honor player. Like, it was the one first-person shooter that I was actually good at, and I loved the Medal of Honor games.
What about Battlefield?
I mean, Battlefield 1942 was kind of the
Battlefield.
last one that I was decent at, and I liked 1942. So, but I used to play it in offline mode against all the bots and whatnot because back then, I couldn't afford an internet connection. That was luxury. That was expensive. A 56K modem that can keep up with that's
So,
really expensive.
Battlefield Bad Company,
2142.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever play Battlefield 2142? It was a little bit
That's
like
the one that just
futuristic.
released a couple of years ago. Like a year or two ago.
No, Battlefield
how long?
2142 was a while ago.
I'm thinking of
2006.
2142.
So what happened?
That one is one that I really spent a little bit of time into because it had this like whole like science, sci-fi like theme to it, And ever since that, it was hard to get back into like Battlefield because everything is more into like the flying and like more on the combat instead of like the mechanics of it, right?
Yeah.
I remember I specifically chose like the engineer class because I always loved making the little turrets and you know, more of a like a support role rather than, you know, like a fighting role, and that reminded me of other things we were just talking about. I'm like, man,
I could chat about Battlefield for an hour solid.
oh
Well,
yeah.
well, Ghost raised his hand, so.
So if we're going that far back, when you say the pinnacle of gaming, I didn't realize you meant way back. I thought you meant modern gaming.
All time.
It's
frames.
whatever. It's whatever
time.
is the all-time fave for you.
Okay,
It's basically
okay.
what
Nostalgic for you.
It's what
Changed.
defines you as a gamer.
This changes my answer considerably.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that being said, I'm gonna have to go with the Deus Ex franchise, for instance.
Ooh.
Very, very well done. Great story arc. Yes, they in Humankind Revolution, they added, life-esque features to it where you could go on and play online against other players, which is phenomenal. But at the end of the day, it wasn't overdrawn to where it could become this competitive gameplay-oriented game. It's still the same game, but you're playing it, just so happen to be playing it against other people. And what I liked about it is it, much in cyberpunk fashion, it created that neo-human, sort of futurism attribute to things that people couldn't even think of before. And it also added some implementation of conspiracy theory to it, which was interesting because it kind of it's thought provoking. You know what I mean? That's what I really like about a game where it provokes the player into thinking about their choices and their consequences and things like that.
I might be remembering the wrong thing, but I want to ask you to refresh my memory. The Deus Ex, was that the single player precursor to the Team Fortress games?
No.
No.
Because what you're describing reminds me of I can't remember the freaking
Mantis
name of
Blades. Mantis Blades. Like
The
Deus
Mantis
Ex
Blades.
was like they're very influential in certain spheres, and I can see where you're going with that. My question to you is then if Deus Ex is there for you, what's your do you have any fond memories of System Shock at all? Which is
System
kind of one
Shock?
of the
No,
big
not
inspirations.
System Shock? What do you mean by that?
So, like the original System Shock games.
Okay, don't recall.
Oh, okay. You might want to check those out one day. Then again, though,
I'll have to check
they're
those
very
out.
old.
I'm just
that's
talking. I'm even
my
just
time.
the earliest Deus Ex game I'm referring to is from 2005 for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
And that was good
PlayStation
enough
2.
as it was. Yeah, the PS2.
The PS2.
But no, I mean, again, that was good enough as it was, but with its own limitations. And then it got pulled because it was like, this is so controversial because it's promoting conspiracy theories, this and that. Like, who cares? But that's what I like about it, is it's throwing in the face of the system that is there for, I'm completely anti, ESRB rating. I'm completely anti, the system that controls free speech. Within reason, obviously. I don't want kids delving into more of the mature things, but you can't limit art in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And that's what I don't like about the gaming industry doing things like that.
The I honestly, I think where we're at with games now, we're at this turning point right now where when is the money going to stop winning out and when is the art going to come back? And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the art to come back.
I feel like that's the only way you can find that is with indie developers,
Yeah.
the ones who actually have passion about this shit. They might not have the money, but I feel like that's where we're going to find it.
Yeah.
And it's
Boom,
not
I said
just...
something smart.
Yeah. And then it's funny you went that direction because I was also going to say something on the developer side of things too. The reason that I don't work in that industry anymore is, and again, not strictly making it political and or, gender shaming or anything like that, but quite frankly, the reason that I didn't do well in the industry is And I'm not touting on myself by saying, "Oh, I'm the best artist in the world." I'm not, but I'm good enough. I went to school for it. I got a lot out of it. I learned a lot. I've grown as an artist in a lot of ways. I'm constantly teaching other people how to do things they didn't know how to do before. So that's my skill set, but I'm not able to use it because, unfortunately, and this is from my experience, I've dealt with a lot of different gaming companies that I've worked for and or applied to, and the same thing across the board has always happened to me is because I'm a straight white male. That's not military, mind you, and I'll explain that in a second. I'm usually kicked out the door right off the bat. You know what I mean? The problem is a lot of people that are in these companies, they're focusing more on the DEI, aspect of things, where it's okay, we need as many different demographics working for us as possible. Forget all the average people. And every time I've actually tested those limits by putting in applications to different companies that had, different attributes about myself that are not true, I would get emails back the next day. But anytime I was true to who I am, I would hear nothing back instantly.
There is definitely a bit of hiring profiling in certain industries. I've seen it so frequently, it's an obvious pattern.
I know far too many people across the country and even across the world who've even traveled to different countries, like in Europe, where a lot of these companies are located in, only to not get jobs because of what they identify as, who they actually are. It's sad, but it's talent being squandered. So I mean, since you mentioned wishing art comes back to this industry, that's exactly what I think of, is allowing people to just make good art. Who cares who they are?
I think, I don't necessarily think it's totally DEI or anything like that. Some of that does.
I just use that as an analogy for the record.
I do think some of that plays into it, but also, I think legacy should be stopped as well.
Yes.
Just because you're the kid of somebody who sat there and created something great doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go into that same industry and you're going to do great. And, because they're already talking about, the next, person in Todd Howard's line or whatever. And it's like,
right.
But they're not Todd Howard.
Ooh, an alumni.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, who gives a shit? Todd Howard was really great. Also, he's gone batshit nuts now. But, you're not, just because they're related to him doesn't mean that they're going to be as good as him. You know? Just because Miyamoto's kid has a taste and a flair for gaming doesn't mean that he's going to be the next Miyamoto. These aren't things that happen. These aren't people who fall in line. These aren't monarchies. This is not how this industry works.
No, but they do get preferential order when they're making a line of potential hirees.
Yeah. Oh, correct. Absolutely.
Line.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to add on to the micro rant that I went down, and I apologize for that, but that's it is more proof to the pudding. And because I couldn't get into gaming exclusively, I tried my hand at military simulation, things like that. I did fairly well with that, but only because I had someone on the inside who actually threw my name around, even though I applied there numerous times at one company in particular. They had never heard of me until that person started throwing my name around. And then I got hired. But even then, they furloughed me later down the line. So it's like, okay, why?
That is the thing. If you're not on a project that had some notoriety to the project, it's hard for your name to gain recognition.
Yeah, correct.
Well, and it's like, look at the kind of help that I've sat there and given Ducky a bit. Is if it wasn't for the fact that I knew people at certain studios, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Those people would never, no offense, Ducky, they'd never look at you.
No, they don't.
About who you know.
Never.
Yeah. It's always networking. So are they still looking at me?
I can tell you one of them actively has been still checking in on your friggin',
do they like what they see? What should I do?
Streams.
We'll get to that later. Not on, on the podcast.
Okay.
But the
Ducky, they're watching.
At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that companies really should be listening for is we're tired of being nickeled and dimed. We're tired of sitting there and going into hollow story experiences. For those of us who don't want to play online, give us true not wanting to play online options. And then for those who do want to play online, give them more variety. Stop sitting there and cornering us players into the one corner you want us to be in, because frankly, between food, groceries, paying mortgages, paying rent, paying car bills, everything like that, we are being nickeled and dimed and monetized to death. I have a friend who just went out and bought a brand new BMW. In order for his key fob, the thing that unlocks his fucking car, he pays a yearly subscription for his key fob to
I'd return that
walk.
car in a day.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We're
I also heard something similar with another manufacturer. One of their options is they offer heated seats, but if you want the heated seats to work, you actually have to be on a subscription.
That's also
BMW.
Amazon $15.99. Get yourself a seat warmer.
Go fuck yourself, man.
But no, it's funny. It's funny we brought this topic up too. So doubling back on things that are wrong with the gaming industry, just with the companies themselves. And this analogy I'm going to use Naughty Dog. I'm a huge Naughty Dog fan. I'm an OG Naughty Dog fan. Jack and Daxter, that was my jam when I was a kid. So, I mean, that was my shit. But with regards to, like, The Last of Us, I loved the first game. I was a huge, tremendous fan of that first game. Even the multiplayer, it was stupid fun. And I spent too many hours on that game. But what was bizarre, the first clue was when do you guys remember that DLC they added to it?
I have vague recollections, but I remember it being bullshit.
Okay, so here's the weird clue that led me towards where they were going with that franchise, and this is what pisses me off still to this very day.
$20 for a set of horse armor? No, I'm sorry.
No, it was a whole story. It was like a prequel to the story of The Last of Us, like Ellie, how she wound up with the Fireflies essentially, and like she was some military cadet of some kind, and she had a girlfriend, and that's what they really pushed towards, was that attribute of things. Nothing wrong with it, but it was very in your face, like boom, like that was very obviously they were pushing it on the player, and not just narratively, but just because politically they were pushing for that, which is again its own issue in and of itself. What they wound up doing with that was even more creepy, in my opinion. I'll explain. When you beat the DLC story, they gave you the option. Would you like to publish that you've completed this storyline to your social? I said no. It did it anyway. And then my mother wound up calling me that same evening, like, what the hell did you publish to your Facebook? What are you talking about? I haven't posted anything. I look on my Facebook, and it's got this weird, creepy, very, lesbian photograph of your character Ellie.
Not all families are okay with that.
No, not at all. And I was raised in a very Christian household, and that's just it is. It was very bizarre how they wound up doing it. So that's just it is. That was my first clue as to the direction Naughty Dog was going to be going with their franchise. And sure enough, that's what they did with the second game. And it's like, people don't like things being shoved down their throats. That's fine, but you see what I'm saying?
I think whether it's political views, whether it's weird ass story decisions, whether it's monetization, I think we can all agree on the one thing is that somebody somewhere in a C-suite somewhere needs to get the stick out of their fucking ass and remember, games are supposed to be fun. We play them to escape. We play them to get outside the world that we're existing in. I don't want to log into a fucking game and be reminded of the fact that in April I have to pay my fucking taxes.
Yes, exactly.
What's up, Skip?
Exactly.
I just remembered one of my guilty pleasures. Childhood game was Final Fantasy X. Yeah, they just don't make them like they used to,
Yep.
Incredible storyline, and being able to play how you want to, and everything is just now just a business.
Yeah,
everything is just for profit, and it's
100%.
Certain developers still have that old mindset where you have to grind and work for everything. But as we keep moving forward, you start seeing these changes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are falling out of love with gaming nowadays.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I liked what Steve said about escaping reality. That's the purpose of games and movies too. Not to get into movies, but look at what the Star Wars franchise has done. They've just injected IRL politics into their entire existence.
Part of the problem is trying to push a particular narrative or message in a game and then forcing you to stay on those rails.
Yeah.
Why can't you just play the game you want no matter who you are? Why can't you pick the path that best suits you and not have the developer go, this is the freaking path of the game. You're on a linear story, and we're going to drive a lot of real life politics, geopolitical politics into the messaging of the game. So basically that just sets the game up to only be purchased by one specific fan base and exclude all other fan bases.
Yeah.
I think of it in the context of novels. Not every format of a fantasy novel is for everybody. Some are for a very specific fandom. Some are geared towards a way broader group of people.
Right. It almost doing that almost vilifies an entire segment of their audience, which is wrong.
Like I was saying earlier, everything is just super straight line, and that freedom that we don't have anymore.
I also, and this is getting onto a different point of the topic too, is I hate when you're presented with a false open world in a game. You're told, hey, you can go explore that, but then when you actually go to try and explore it,
you're not free.
You can't go there.
Yeah.
So why tell me it's an open world environment if I can't go there? That is one thing that the GTA games do really well, is that when they say open world, man, you can go if you want to go to the top of Mount Chiliad, you can definitely go to the top of Mount Chiliad.
Yeah.
Like, it's not walled off.
If you want to get into a restricted area you don't belong in, it's possible.
That is one of my biggest gripes with 2077 is like, I know where the casino is supposed to be. Can I get over there? Not without having to jump over a few invisible walls.
A bunch of wall glitching. Yeah, exactly.
I would love it, even if the fact that they haven't implemented it, and basically we're never going to get it implemented at this point. But I would love to be able to wander over there and just, you could even make it look like a rundown hotel or whatnot, and be like, But I would love to just be able to go there. I can't go over there. Can I get over to the solar farms? Again, you kind of can, but in order to get into the solar farms, you got to do some weird glitchy stuff.
Can you get into the Biotechnica facility? Yeah, sure, but you're not going to see any, of the insides of them.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but well, I think we've kind of reached another natural stopping point. I want to thank everybody, especially for the successful season 1. Now that we're going into season 2, I want to thank all of my co-hosts for coming in here. Of course, I'm Steve from WTF Anime. We have the lovely Ladyducky.
I just want to say thank you to people who've been following me on YouTube and Instagram. I've reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 1,000 on Instagram, and I just want to say that's amazing, and I appreciate everyone who's been following me, and hell, join the Quack Pack if you want to keep seeing my stuff. I appreciate you. So thank you.
Awesome. And of course we have KriticalSkeptic.
One day you'll be able to find me on the internet. Until then, if you like listening to my bullshit, come watch me here.
And of course, want to thank DaBlueSkittle for coming and joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. If you guys are looking for a sci-fi Daisy experience, you could always look it up on the Core PvE. Check it out, see if you like it. I am currently in development of 4 other servers, so I got a little bit for everything. So thank you.
Awesome. And of course, Six, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it so heavily.
Always a pleasure. You can find me and my community at the Hades Core on Discord. We're mainly a Helldivers community, but we do a whole bunch of other things, but we do, quite a bit of other things as well. We're mainly just about building each other up, so kind of a support group. So if you want somewhere to hang out and get built up if you're in a bad spot, come join us.
Share some love.
Well, from myself to everybody, I would just like to say, if you liked this video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, ring that notification bell, make sure that you're sitting there and you're following us on everything down in the links down there in the description. Hey, did you know we've got a Patreon? We've got a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive behind-the-scenes access. Of course, you also have exclusive posts, and when we occasionally do the group live stream, you'll find all of our VODs over there. From myself and everybody else, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye!